Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll be studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, and text number 72. This is the final chapter of the final verse of the chapter. And this is a very kind of direct point from Kapila Dev to his mother Devahuti. Okay, so here we go. Tam asmin pratyak atmanam deya yoga pravrittaya bhaktya viraktya jnanena vivichtya atmane chintayet tam asmin pratyagatmanam deya yoga pravrittaya bhaktya viraktya jnanena vivichthyatmani chintayet. Tamasmin pratyagatmanam diya yoga pravrittaya Bhaktya Viraktya Jnanena Vivichtyatmani Chintayet. Diya Yoga Pravrittaya Bhaktya Viraktya Jnanena Vivichtyatmani Chintayet.
Tamasmin pratyagatmanam ya yoga pravrittaya.
Okay, sorry.
Tamasmin pratyagatmanam
Namasmin Pratyagatmanam
ya yoga pravrittaya.
Dhyayoga Pravrittaya
Bhaktya viraktya jnanena
Bhaktya Virakta
vichatma chintayet.
Vichāmanusaya.
Chintayet.
Tamasmin pratyagatmanam
Namasmin Pratyagatmanam
Dhiya yoga pavrittaya
Dhyayoga Pravrittaya
Bhaktya viraktya jnanena
Bhaktya Virakta
Vivichtyatmani chintayet.
Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam Dhiya Yoga Pravrittaya Bhaktya Virakta Jnanena Vivichātmani Chintayet.
Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam
Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam
Diya Yoga Pravrittaya
Dhiya Yoga Pravrittaya
Jyavritya Jnanena
Bhaktya Virakta Jnanena
Vivishyatmani Chittaya.
Vivichātmani Chintayet. Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam Dhiya Yoga Pravrittaya
Jnanena
Vivishatmani Chintayat
Vivichtyatmani Chintayet.
Tamasmin Pratyagatman
Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam
Dhiya Yogya Pravirtaya
Diya Yoga Pravrittaya
Bhaktya Viraktya Ganena
Bhaktya Viraktya Jnanena
Vivichatmani Chintaye.
Vivichtyatmani Chintayet.
Online. Online.
Tamasmin pratyagatmanam
Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam
Dhiya yoga pravrittaya
Dhiya Yoga Pravrittaya
Bhaktya viraktya jnanena
Bhaktya Virakta Jnanena
Vivichятmani chintayet.
Vichātmani Chintayet.
तमस्मिन् प्रत्यगात्मानं
Tamasmin Pratyagatmanam
धिया योगप्रवृत्तया
Dhiya
भक्त्या विरक्तया ज्ञानेन विविच्यात्मनि चिन्तयेत्.
Vichātmani Chintayet. That's everyone. Tam upon him. Asmin.
Atmanam the super soul. Dhiya, with the mind. Yoga pravrittaya, engaged in devotional service. Bhaktya, through devotion. Viraktya, through detachment. Jnanena, through spiritual knowledge. Vivichya, considering carefully. Atmani, in the body. Chintayet, one should contemplate. Translation. Therefore, through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge, acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that supersoul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. Purport. One can realize the supersoul within oneself. He is within one's body, but apart from the body, or transcendental to the body. Although sitting in the same body as the individual soul, the supersoul has no affection for the body, whereas the individual soul does. Therefore, one has to detach himself from this material body by discharging devotional service. It is clearly mentioned here, bhaktya, that one has to execute devotional service to the Supreme, as it is stated in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.7. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. When Vasudeva, the all-pervading Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is served in completely pure devotion, detachment from the material world immediately begins. The purpose of Sankhya is to detach oneself from material contamination. This can be achieved simply by devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one is detached from the attraction of material prosperity, one can actually concentrate his mind upon the Supersoul. As long as the mind is distracted towards the material, there is no possibility of concentrating one's mind and intelligence upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his partial representation, Supersoul. In other words, one cannot concentrate one's mind and energy upon the Supreme unless one is detached from the material world. Following detachment from the material world, one can actually attain transcendental knowledge of the Absolute Truth. As long as one is entangled in sense enjoyment or material enjoyment, it is not possible to understand the Absolute Truth. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One who is freed from material contamination is joyful and can enter into devotional service, and by devotional service, he can be liberated. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, it is stated that one becomes joyful by discharging devotional service. In that joyful attitude, one can understand the science of God or Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is not possible. The analytical study of the elements of material nature and concentration of the mind upon the Supersoul are the sum and substance of the Sankhya philosophical system. The perfection of this Sankhya Yoga culminates in devotional service unto the Absolute Truth. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 26th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. Therefore, through devotion, detachment, and advancement in spiritual knowledge acquired through concentrated devotional service, one should contemplate that Supersoul as present in this very body, although simultaneously apart from it. Thank you for being here. we'll make sure to keep an eye out for any comments from Maharaj. And so the Sanskrit here is Tamasmin pratyagatmanam diya yoga pravrittaya bhaktya viraktya jnanena vivicchatmani chintayet. So upon him, right, upon that Supreme Lord. So the previous verse was talking about arousing the cosmic, well, there is this, all these elements, right, we spoke about, and they were trying to arouse the cosmic being, which is the Subirat Purusha, or the universal body. And then Kapila Dev gives an analogy which connects us with the jiva. And then it says, when a man is sleeping, all of his material assets cannot wake him. Only if the super soul wakes him up can he actually wake up. So he made an analogy which got us thinking about ourselves personally. And it's very nice because actually one can understand that it's kind of mystical the way that we rise from slumber. And I have personal experience, being woken up. Why is it that we seem to wake up right at the time, we're supposed to wake up, It's very amazing, actually. And Krishna gives us various chances, especially me. Unfortunately, I'm a chronic snoozer. So he will wake me up right before my best time to get up, something like, say 3 a.m. or like 2:59 or something. Kind of like right before my idealistic alarm goes off. He's like, see, I got you up. You're ready to go. Now the choice is yours. And usually I snooze it, and then I go on like that. But then he still wakes me up, and then I go running off, like that. But so the idea is, who's doing that? Maharaj has something now? Very good.
Might be because the camera wasn't on. Okay, Gurudev, we're ready.
Hare Krishna. We find here in Bhagavatam and also Bhagavad Gita how there are different ways to approach the Supreme Lord. One can approach him through giving some charity. One can approach renouncing material sense gratification, practicing yoga, controlling the sense, the mind and the breathing, and many different ways. And they're all good, but bhakti yoga is always considered the pinnacle, because this is what actually all yoga is based on. Yoga means, bhakti means devotional service. So if one does devotional service properly under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, then he gets all the other things. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayadhyasubharakyam Jnanam Chayadhoitu. By performing devotional service, automatically knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and detachment are received. He doesn't have to do anything separate to get those. He doesn't actually have to do anything other than devotional service to get any good quality. A bhakti yogi doesn't have to try to practice becoming detached, for example, from smoking. Automatically he becomes detached. If there's some bhakti there, then he'll become detached from smoking. Or detached from drinking or some alcohol or some intoxicant. Or anything that's detrimental to making spiritual advancement go away. Just by the purity of devotional service. So, there are many people who like to go to holy places, rivers, mountains, and forests where saintly persons have gone or transcendental pastimes have been performed by the Lord. And this is good, it's recommended. They want to do these things. It's like some people, they take a trek, they walk many miles from their home to a holy place somewhere. And it's not easy walking. It's hot, it's tiresome, it takes time, money. But they do it because they want to get closer to God. That's why temples are good, or synagogues, mosques, sanctuaries, and they often put something on the top of like in temples, they put a chakra on the top, generally, Vaishnavas. Chakra represents Lord Vishnu. And they do that so that the pilgrims who are coming there, they can see the chakra on the top and they get inspiration. I'm almost there. I'll soon be there. So all these things are related to Krishna. Anything that relates to Krishna and draws the person nearer to Krishna, that's beneficial. And we should accept it. So, all these nice things we can do, we can go on pilgrimage to holy places, we'll get some spiritual advancement. We can go to holy dhams where the Lord resided, all these things. But without doing any of those things, if we stay at home and we do our chanting, or we do some devotional service with love and devotion, then automatically we get the benefits of going to, well, oftentimes it's stated that one who hears this pastime gets the benefit of performing 10,000 Ashwamedha sacrifices. Ashwamedha sacrifices are very pious activities. It's like the epitome of karma yoga or karma. They're trying to get the ultimate material things, going and living in the heavenly planets. But if one performs devotional service, he gets all of it. There's a verse also by one devotee, he said, that because I'm engaged in devotional service, the goddess of liberation stands before me with folded hands. And behind her are Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Religiosity, economic benefit, and sense gratification. And also, as we heard, about getting liberation. So, there's many places throughout the Vedas explain this. If one understands it, then he can serve in any place, any time. Vasudevi Bhagavati. There's nothing that gets in the way. Ahoi tu kapatita, yamasu supersediti. Devotional service cannot be stopped by anything material. One can go on serving Krishna, even if it's a city that doesn't appear to be as good a place for devotional service or shooting books as another place. You can still go on there and get perfection of life just by doing his service that he's been given by the representatives of Krishna. And then everything is successful. He's peaceful. He's happy. He doesn't have to go anywhere. It's stated in the Vedas that a happy man is one who lives at home, eats at home, he doesn't have to go far away for work, and he's living very peacefully. We can see our society isn't going in that direction. It's going more work. You should have a job that's far away from home. Sometimes the people fly into their work every day, or drive 100 miles in the city, 100 miles back. This doesn't lead to peaceful life. And they're trying to get more money, more wealth, more economic sense gratification, more of these things than they need, than is required. A little bit of sense gratification is required. And therefore, nature puts that ingredient in there. Just like even continuing the species, man and woman, or male and female, they have some attraction to each other. And because of that attraction, they get close and they have union, and there's a little pleasure there, even in producing children, offspring. So the whole system is set up so brilliantly that everyone can make spiritual progress in one lifetime, enough to go back to Godhead. But they have to be desirous to do that. Has to be willing to make that sacrifice. And that one sacrifice is the only one that's required. That's described by Lord Chaitanya. He taught this one sacrifice. And one who has sufficient intelligence, he'll perform that. He doesn't have to worry about anything else. Thank you.
Really fortunate to have your association. So, surpass so-called obstacles in devotional service by two things. This is exemplified by the pastimes of Durvasa with Ambarish Maharaj, as well as Sobari Muni. And Maharaj was mentioning about how there's many different processes for spiritual elevation, and Sobri Muni was undergoing such processes, but a little bit removed from devotion. And Durvasa was a great yogi, and also a little bit removed from devotion. And the two examples which were made out of those personalities were that Ambarish Maharaj, who was a king, apparently a materialistically minded person, apparently, was the greatest of all the yogis because he's a devotee and he's fixed on doing yajna. And actually, even then, there was Sankirtan, even in all the ages, there's been Sankirtan. And it's described in Bhagavatam that Sankirtan is the fearless path of progress for everybody. It's already been tested by all the sages. If we go on glorifying the Lord, and then we don't have to worry about anything else. So we're very fortunate to have that reminder from Maharaj, and also to be shown that example in the Bhagavatam Leelas. So Sobri Muni, he had some trouble in his devotional life, or his path of yoga, his path of progress, elevation, and he was distracted from his meditational processes because there wasn't a sufficient strength in bhakti. And so if we want to increase our strength in bhakti, then we should take to the Sankirtan movement, as was said by Maharaj. So Sankirtanaya prayar, that Sumedasa, somebody with a sufficient brain substance, will take to the Sankirtan Yajna, and they'll worship Krishna along with his weapons. The weapons of Lord Chaitanya are his devotees. And in this age of Kali Yuga, we're not meant to kill the demons, though if it comes to that, then we can take weapons against people who try to hurt Krishna and his devotees. That is not outside of the Vaishnava behavior. And we can see that exemplified in Arjuna and Hanuman and other great warriors who protected the devotees and Krishna. So, but generally, we are interested to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is killing ours and others' demoniac tendency to try to lord it over the material nature, which is Krishna's property. It's like trying to steal Mother Sita away from Lord Rama. And that's kind of our default, unfortunately, in the material world, is to just take it for ourselves. And it's not ours to take. So, we're very fortunate. Kapila Dev has culminated this, and he's given all the explanation of the material world, and he's culminated it in focus on the Lord within the heart. And how do you do that? You have to take to devotion. And without that devotion, it's very, very difficult to do. Another part that stood out to me here was how Prabhupada talks about this joyful attitude. One becomes joyful by discharging devotional service. Yayatma supersediti, that the soul is completely satisfied and joyful. And in the Gita, it's stated that it's susukam kartam avyayam. It's joyfully performed, this process of devotion. And interestingly enough, there's some book that we have. There's a devotee, his name is Sridhar Swami, and he was known as the Jolly Servant. And we have a friend of ours, Alankar Prabhu, and he's always reminding us to stay jolly, stay transcendental. Nashochati nakangshati. If we're lamenting about what we don't have, or we're hankering after what we don't have, we're lamenting after what we lost, then, as was mentioned in this purport by Prabhupada, right, this is the concept of material prosperity. There's something that I need that I don't have materially. But as Maharaj said, ahaituki apratiyata, that this devotional service, it cannot be checked under any material circumstance because it's a matter of the heart. It's a matter of the consciousness. So even a poor man or even somebody who has to go to hell, if he has Krishna consciousness, he can be completely joyful and completely detached from desiring material prosperity, as is exemplified by Srila Prabhupada. This morning we heard he was, as soon as he starts his translating and representation of the commentaries of the Acharyas mixed with his sweet, sweet transcendental realization and Krishna whispering in his ear what to write on these purports, he is completely free from his bodily condition, which was very extreme near the end of his manifest pastimes here, and he would just go for it. And this shows that this devotional service, it can't be checked. He's sick apparently, but he's completely transcendental to that when he engages in his service that was given by a spiritual master. So we can't really imitate that, but we can engage with Tivrana Bhakti Yogena, enthusiasm and rigor in our services, and we can have faith. As Maharaj told us, let us just engage in this Sankirtan Yagya and please Krishna, and everything that we need will come automatically. Okay, thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to add something? Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the Sambhava devotees. Ancha kalpatarubhishya.